Gary, did you talk to them at all about the ABA stuff? When you talked about, okay. All right. So what I want to talk to you guys about today, so historically the region has worked with ISTART. So ISTART serves the intellectual disability dual diagnosis population. So the higher risk people that end up getting, discharged at the last minute, things like that, just simply because they have more behavior, blah, 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 okay? Well, up to this point, ISTART basically promised a service that they did not deliver, okay? For whatever reason, they couldn't get staff, they couldn't this, that, whatever. So, and then they came back and said, but we could totally do it for more money, sort of a thing, right? So the example I gave them was, so basically you're saying you've been a really crappy employee, but if you got a raise, you'd be a better employee. And he's like, well, yeah, I could see why I look at it like that. So needless to say, our contract with them sunsetted June 30th, okay, so it was not renewed. So in turn, what the region has decided is they're going to hire an applied behavioral analyst, okay? So what this person is going to do is they're going to do essentially very similar to what ISTART has been doing. The only difference is they're going to cover the entire region. So, and there's greater accountability, because the reality is we were paying ISTART a crap ton of money and they served like 18 people, okay? Right? So one person can easily serve 18 people for, what was it, Gary, like we were paying them, I want to say 150 or 250, something like that. A lot.
This is our region was
Yes.
paying them.
Yes.
Okay.
And so in turn, I mean, you take maybe like half of that, and this is what we're going to be doing with the ABA position. So the ABA person is going to be covering the entire region, working directly with providers to be able to have more accountability to the region, to be able to provide these services so that we have less discharges. We have less people getting stuck in the hospitals because they just don't know what to do. They're going to be doing training, all kinds of stuff. So that's the long and short of what this position is. So when May originally brought it to the Regional Governing Board, she had said basically who can't potentially house this person, who can't potentially do a budget amendment, yada, yada, yada. And I think Lynn County was the only one who couldn't, I think, because they just don't have the room. So when she went through, this particular girl, when she went through the different benefits in the different counties, basically we had our benefits and ability to do a contract, negotiate things like that. We were the only ones able to do that because Johnson is all union, so theirs is absolutely not. We don't negotiate it, you get what you get. And the other counties, it's, you start at the bottom and there's no wiggle room whatsoever, okay? So what I would like is, and I will be overseeing her directly, so I will be her direct supervisor. This is a completely regionally funded position, so it wouldn't be something, so if you guys agreed to say, yes, we could house her here, we would be the employer of record. Her position is like mine, but it's 100% reimbursed. So, but what I would like is for her to be housed in Benton County. And I'm working with Kirsten now, her contract, we would do a contract with her. It would be similar to Lindsay's, but I would bring that back in front of you guys once it's done to have it approved and all of that. So basically what I need permission for is, one, to be able to offer her the position, two, that yes, we could house her here. So one of two places she would be. Either I would move into Adam's office and with the VA, and then she would move into my office, or she would move into Adam's office and I would stay. Like one of those two spaces, basically, she would. And the reason for her to potentially be in mine is because she will be out in the region, so she's going to be doing a lot of travel. And so she would be in the office less than me. So HIPAA, things like that. She wouldn't be meeting with people in the office, she would be like on site. So basically, an office space for her, and then obviously we would need to get her furniture, computer, that kind of stuff. But again, all of this stuff is reimbursed back to the county. And obviously, Haley, I would need your permission to say, yes, we could do a budget amendment, because that is what it would.
We have, they are the ultimate ones, but I am going to put that on the agenda next week to set a date for the budget amendment.
Yes.
So in the near future.
We would need, obviously, you guys say yes, but.
Yeah, we need the amounts to know.
Do that. So there would need to be a budget amendment, and then going forward, it would be reimbursed, but it would fall like under my budget.
So they would go to our payroll and benefits, insurance, everything like
Yes.
normal.
Yep. So everything, yeah, it would be exactly like my position. It's reimbursed, but it's still, everything goes through.
Flow through, yeah.
The only, and one of the big things that I would need to know what you guys wanted to do if you said yes, is, so obviously she's going to be traveling throughout the region. We only have one car. If you guys say yes, would you guys want the county to purchase a second car so that she would have, or would you want to just reimburse her mileage?
So, may I?
Yes, that's my spiel, so.
Coming up with the car, is that something that is reimbursed as well, other
Yes.
than just the mileage? I mean, if we go out and purchase a vehicle,
Yes.
that's reimbursed from the region.
From what, because I verified with May, okay, is this just salary, or is the county gonna get reimbursed, like, the startup costs, basically? You know, getting furniture, getting the computer, getting the car, and from what I was told, salary and like startup stuff, all of that is going to be reimbursed back to.
Benefits are also reimbursed, I presume. Okay. We're just a pass-through. Yeah.
So if we buy a car, that would be reimbursed?
That's what she said.
That's my
Because then for
understanding.
insurance too, then would we bill the region monthly for their,
I
That I don't, how do we, so how do we do it for mine?
yours is put it with the health, so I think yours is a little different. When we originally got it,
Yep, so,
but you guys budget for that, but I'm not sure if that's fully
so my
reimbursed.
other, okay, so here's another thought, because, I mean, and I can clarify all of that. My other thought is, so, with the, do you guys remember me talking to you not that long ago about?
That's gonna run out.
Well, so here's the mess, okay? So yes, it's going to run out. Here's the problem that we have. So last year, we budgeted, you guys remember we budgeted, we're just gonna round it up to 68. 68 for CIT training for Tippett. You remember that?
Mhm.
Okay, so he said, nope, it's not gonna get spent, it's not gonna get spent, it's not gonna get spent, please put it in next year's budget. So I put another $68,000 in for CIT this year. Well, then I find out that CIT all got paid for out of last year's budget, and this $68,000 for this year is not going to get touched. So now we have $68,000 that potentially we have to find something else to do with it.
We don't have to spend it.
No, we don't have to spend it, but
Yeah.
if the region has the expectation that we are at 40% by the end of, because all fund balance projects are done June 30th of '22. So if the way that we had planned it was X amount of our fund balance projects was going to leave us at under 40%, right? Well, if we have this additional 68, that puts us above this 40% kind of thing. You know what I mean? That was the only reason I was thinking, okay, potentially, is that someplace that can go?
Instead of doing the amendment, but that still probably wouldn't cover.
No, instead of doing the amendment, but I can clarify that the car would be reimbursed.
Because, we only levied for a portion for the budget amount, so anything above and beyond, it's still gonna come out of the fund balance, obviously. If you guys are following that.
So, and that's not something necessarily that has to be decided today, but I wanted to kind of, put that out there. So if you guys do have questions, if there's things that you guys want me to clarify with May of, is this going to be reimbursed or is that not going to be reimbursed?
And I know May is on the agenda, September 7th for an update. So I know you probably want to move forward, but Maybe she could answer some of those.
Well, but the nice thing about like the vehicle, so if you guys say, yes, you can offer her the job, because we know her salary is gonna be reimbursed, we know other certain things. But then down here, we deal with the vehicle thing, because even if you guys approve it today, she wouldn't be starting until like September 1st anyway. And she's not going to be traveling straight out of the gate. So we have time to figure out that piece, but I just wanted to make sure that I was transparent and say, okay, that is something that we're going to have to look at, either mileage or this, so.
My opinion, if this is 100% reimbursed all expenses, and we are basically a pass-through, I see absolutely no issue with doing this at all. If Benton County has to pull out of our fund balance, you know, to support some of these, and the other counties don't have to, I'm not so much in favor of that. That's my opinion.
I have no problem with her hiring. I have no problem with her using the office, whichever one. The only thing I would like to get clarification on is the car.
Yep, which
Which is
I've got a
gonna
big,
be, if everything's 100% reimbursed.
Yes, that's the
well,
only
and if
thing.
that's, so with that, so if we're gonna say everything's not 100% reimbursed, specific to the car, right? So that just means that she doesn't get a car and the mileage is reimbursed. Do you know what I'm
As long as
saying?
mileage is reimbursed.
So,
From the
yes,
region, not just the county.
That is correct. not
yes,
from
and that is
not
something
out
because
of
she's
our
going to be
fund.
traveling for the region, that mileage would be,
Pass it into.
So,
And I can see the advantage of having a car, you know.
I was gonna say, yeah, two things on the mileage reimbursement though, is that, I don't know where she lives, don't care. But 9 times out of 10, if she's out of county, she might wanna have her own vehicle if she's gotta go east to where she's living at, instead of coming all the way back to Benton.
so
To
she
get the
lives,
car.
so she lives in Waterloo. So,
she's outside our region.
and that's, I mean, neither here nor there. We didn't, honestly, Gary, we didn't have one applicant in our region, not one. We had them from Washington State, we had them from La Crosse, maybe, like way up north. We did not have one applicant from our region.
Of which they probably would have moved to the region from out of state.
From Washington, yes, but like the one from like up north, she had no intention of moving. We had one from Davenport, she had no intention of moving.
Well, Davenport, really, you know,
And so my thing with the car would be, number one, it would stay parked here. So she would travel here. It would not be like mine that it kind of goes where I go. It would be parked here. And so if she drove her own, then yes, she could get, you know, if for whatever reason she was going straight from Waterloo to Dubuque. You know what I mean? But she's not going to get reimbursed mileage from Waterloo to Dubuque. It would be from wherever to Indiana County or whatever to when she got in our region.
it really don't matter to us how that,
Yeah, but it would not, but basically the car would stay parked here and then she would have to come here and go from wherever from here, sort of a thing. So just for you guys' awareness that the car is going to stay parked in Benton County and then she would disperse from here.
Well,
it don't make a lot of sense if she's going up north.
No, that's what I'm saying. In my budget, there's always room for mileage because there's going to be times that, you know, if Sarah were to drive or whatever. So that's already built. That's already built in, that we have to have that additional, but.
Then how many clients, you think, 18, 20?
Well, okay, so at this moment, there's 18, but there's only 18 because we went like 6 months without a coordinator. So 6 months with people that we wanted to refer, but there was, you know, they would get referred and then they would sit there and sit there and sit there and sit there. So our hope is that she's gonna have more than that.
then how many, I'm putting you on the spot, how many trips each, one client? I mean, is it one time visit or? is
No,
it
so
weekly,
basically,
like a doctor, dentist, or, you know?
so basically what would happen is, so we're gonna say that you're at, B and D in Independence, and you're creating havoc. So we're gonna say there's two to three different shifts that work with you, okay? So she would go and sit for, an hour or two, whatever, on each one of those shifts. Because we're gonna watch, like, okay, how do you interact with staff? What's different on each shift? So that way she can train those specific staff on how to, and then if maybe second shift, you're just a hot mess, okay? So what is different about second shift? And so potentially we have two to three visits, you know what I mean? And then, so I'm just gonna round up and say 5 visits per site per person. Those would be the initial, like, observation shifts, then going back with the plan and training.
And how long will these 5 visits be over? How long a period of time? A month?
So, kind of start to finish what we had talked about with, like, writing up the plan, the visits. So yeah, kind of over the course of a month, we're going to do these visits. We're gonna write up the plan, and then we're gonna go back and kind of help staff implement that plan. And when I say help staff implement that plan, it's just kind of going over the plan with the staff and then training them how to implement it. So she doesn't actually implement the plan, she teaches these people how to implement the plan. Does that make sense?
Well, this is down as a discussion, and so,
Well, I think she got the direct from
Just
you
the-
for sure.
yeah,
That we're on board for the hire, we're on board for the room. The only hang up, me anyway, is,
And
Well,
the car is
the car.
definitely something, yes, we need to, we
yeah,
expenses.
yeah.
and I didn't know, and the other question, because I didn't know, obviously I have, the one car for our office, if there were other, because they were asking, does Benton County have cars? I was like, I know our office only has one, but I don't know what Benton County has, like, as a whole. If there's something that's already here, which is why I wanted to talk about it, is it something that it's like,
We're short vehicles right now. Well, the sheriff,
Who's very short, yeah.
Well, he's got some that's gonna go to auction. So, but that's neither here nor there. The whole thing is the long-term expenses. You've gotta find out some
yeah,
questions here.
the only
find
thing
out
that
some
I'm not
answers.
100% on is the vehicle, and so that will get clarified, but everything else I know is covered.
And as long as she's not very picky, which I hope she's not, that we got enough desks, around here that we can just move to set in her office. The only thing I would
Do they have any
suggest.
desks?
Oh,
Because-
yes,
Wasn't there one,
yes.
didn't Adam have one in there?
Adam's got one, I know.
Well,
That one was the WMA one, but, I mean, it's still
well,
in
so
our
that was
possession.
my other question, with Adam's furniture, because I know there was question, does that have
Well,
to be
it's
auctioned
still,
off?
right
Does
now,
that
it's
have to
still
be-
in our
Still-
possession, because Benton County purchased it. At the end of the WMA, we're not sure what happens, but so in her, right now, I wouldn't see a problem with her using that if
Right.
it's in there.
Well, it's not really a desk, it's a table with a
It's one of those
stand
stand
up,
ups that
where
you
you
can
can
lower
stand,
down.
lower it down to,
But
but a regular desk, there's some in the hallway here and to the north,
I was gonna say, I just know when I was looking for, Shelby,
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, we went and looked at that one downstairs too.
so I didn't, if there's other options,
Yeah, I don't know which other one.
Back, there's a desk right next door that,
But quite honestly, that's something that's gonna get reimbursed if we have to go out and purchase it.
True, but I mean, bit development, I mean, they got, that's everything stuffed in their room over here, next door, all her stuff. And there was a nice desk because
So after, at the end of the day, or when you guys are done with your meeting, come and grab me and we can, because yeah, if we don't have to, I
yeah,
would much rather, I mean, the reality is if we don't have to spend money, we don't need to make it rain if we don't have to. If we already have something,
But it's not a make or break thing anyway for
Yeah.
Benton County because it's gonna be reimbursed.
right.
yeah.
It's the long term expense.
So the only thing, so I can go ahead and offer her the job, the salary, all of that kind of stuff. Again, when we come back and present the contract to you guys, all of that is in there. The salary is higher, I mean, it's 67,000 because you have to have a master's degree, you have to have specialized credentials to do this. The car we will deal with later. So, but I can offer her the position and then bring the contract back. Is that what I'm understanding?
Well, if we're not paying for it,
Yeah, I
It's
don't
really
see a
not-
problem. All we're
Well-
doing is basically providing
Yes,
this
but you guys
spot.
still have to say,
Provide the spending authority.
We're willing
Yeah.
to, as long as the auditor's office is willing to do this pass-through stuff, I don't see a problem.
We have to put it in her budget amendment, so you'll have to give me all the, we'll have to do all that final numbers for your budget amendment, so you guys know that'll be in within that amendment.
Okay.
when do you need that by?
Probably as soon as you can, so I can start putting numbers together. Like I said, they'll have to set the date, and we have to still, can't be less than 10, more than 20, all that stuff, so.
Yep,
I
so
would
because
hope
I can
maybe
just.
in October, we would do the actual amendment here.
Okay. And by then, I mean, because I can just plug all of my budget to get all your ivory.
Yep,
your-
yep, that's exactly.
all
what
of
we-
that, and then, by then we would have the vehicle thing figured out, the furniture stuff figured out, the computer stuff, all of that stuff. Okay.
So tentatively for October.
so if we've got extra vehicles that we're gonna get rid of, are they, we're short of vehicles.
I guess I'd worry about that when the time comes. The sheriff's gotta get the pickups on the road anyways, but if there's a reason why he wants to get rid of them.
I was gonna say, his cars are starting on fire, let's not.
Well, they're getting up in mileage too. You know, whereas you get up in mileage, you get more, nickel and diming, there's not nickels and dimes anymore, you know? So, that's the whole idea.
It hasn't been that many months that he bought a used vehicle for the access center.
Yeah. So, yep. And if they're gonna reimburse the car, I think you ought to just right out of the chute, get a new one.
Yep,
They
so,
don't
I
have
mean,
problems.
weeks or two to go over contracts up with you guys.
Yeah, I
Good.
figure, like I said, May's on September 7th. You'll probably want to do it before that.
We'll see, I don't know what,
Okay, otherwise I could allow more time.
and I don't know
for-
what life looks like in the next couple weeks, I'll have to double
If
check.
she's on at 9:30, I figure that right now I could pencil in like a half an hour worth of you guys' time or more.
So if my plan is to have her start September 1st, does the contract need to be approved by you guys prior to that?
That
Should
would
be.
make sense.
Okay, well, she was talking September 7th.
Yeah, that's when I know
So-
May's scheduled to come
Yeah.
in, so, but whatever. We can do it week.
So, okay.
I know you guys didn't do it that way with Lindsay, but that was a different circumstance.
Mhm. All right, so I'll check the date and get that approved. Does the car thing need to be clarified prior to September 1st, or are we good to do that? The 7th of May?
Sooner we know, the sooner you'll know.
All right.
And that just sounds like it's phone calls to me anyway.
Okay, yep, I'm gonna shoot her an email right now and double check that, so. Okay, well, I will be back, I know it won't be next Tuesday because of ISAC, so probably the following week for that. What's the date? The following week?
Is the 21st, or no, August 31st.
August 31st. Okay, perfect, I will be back August 31st. All right, thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Are you gonna need anything that
Yeah, if anything, it might be shifting money internally, but generally
Yeah.
wouldn't be an issue until June in most years.
Okay, no problem.
So,
Okay, Myron,
Yeah.
have at her.
you have a question earlier, or?
This is the last week.
I got a couple, but
Okay.
mine ain't pressing.
Deb said my name came up very early. She was listening earlier. I just
I don't think it was in vain.
thought it was a minute question, so I don't know. Just thought I'd ask real quick. Well,
Thank you.
Morning, Ron. Great. Benton County has a specialized sign truck. 20-ish years ago, I think we went through a special company in northwest Iowa that was putting truck bodies together, or the body part at least, for sign storage. Not so much storage, but holding signs and sign posts and sign installation apparatus, crane lift on it type of deal, catwalk type of deal. Well, that framework is rusting out badly, needs to be replaced. That company either doesn't exist or actually could do a little bit better, but there's a company called Maintainer out of Sheldon that does a sign body. Delaware County recently purchased one. I think Lynn County has one also. We've been talking with those that use them, as well as the Maintainer company itself. They can put together a package with a truck. We chose to kind of put our truck body together ourselves, cabin chassis, single axle. Doug got a quote from Mack Freightliner in Peterbilt. What you have in front of you is the price for that cabin chassis, single axle truck, and then Maintainer signed body with the crane, which would be the same price in all three. Recommending that we go ahead and get a Freightliner cabin chassis ordered for the Maintainer. I know that truck bodies right now are almost a year out. So it's quite possible that this would be a 23 fiscal year cost, not even 22.
Will they still honor the price?
Yes.
Just an airbag suspension on the Freightliner.
I'd have to look at the spec or have Doug inquire, I guess. I'm not sure.
I have a problem with Freightliner's airbags.
I know the Mack trucks have been pretty, this is a single axle, it's not heavy duty tandems like we have on our dump trucks. We've got both new Freightliners and new Mack dump truck. Tandem trucks, they both have had some warranty issues. The dealers have addressed them. I know they're still kind of a pain in the butt when anything happens, and when you're at a limited or loss as to price you, the warranty is covered by the dealer, but that might be 2 days, it might be 3 weeks, and in the middle of the winter time when it's snowing out, hours and minutes are my preferred answer as opposed to days and weeks, but
You know, no offense, but for $20,000 to $50,000, you can buy a lot of airbags. And the airbags are usually manufactured by a different company, you know, Firestone or such.
we've been very pleased with the Mack truck, probably a little bit more than Freightliner, but for $20,000, it's not that big of a difference, so I'm recommending that the Freightliner be purchased for the sign truck if that meets with your approval.
So, what I mean, $50,000 between Freightliner and Peterbilt.
Mm-hmm.
What does Peterbilt got that Freightliner don't?
Well, pack car just seems to be a little more money. And anyone in the trucking industry would tell you that, you know,
They got chrome doorknob, or
Well-
gold doorknobs.
it seems like the over-the-road truckers like Peterbilt's, and I don't know if it's just a name brand thing or what. In my opinion, the Freightliners have been the Chevrolet of the industry. That's my opinion. So, and I've not had a Mack. I've had a bunch of Freightliners. I've had numerous Peterbilt. I've had Volvo. So, you know, I don't have a problem with the Freightliner, and I will make a motion that we go ahead. Cummins, you know, 9-liter in it, good engine.
I have a second.
Yep.
All in favor of getting the Freightliner?
Aye.
Freightliner or Freightliner?
It's freight.
Price although.
I'm sure that most people looking at it knew what that meant, so.
Okay. All in favor? There
That's
you
all I
go.
got.
Yep.
Low mile, 2004 Freightliner, automatic, Mercedes-Benz diesel.
Got the Mercedes-Benz.
Single axle, has a chassis, just.
Well, it could be if you took the box off of it.
Can you give me your lines?
Nope.
Probably not, but I don't.
Darn it. That's not what I wanted to hear. I'll run it out and you can look at it sometime.
Whether or not anyone else would or not, I don't wanna.
I'll just run it out and you can look at it sometime.
You know, and I have heard how nice it would be if the weed department had a third truck too, and third operators, so,
The next truck,
yeah.
That was my thought, but I just was.
original tires.
Original tires, supposed to get dry rotted yet.
They look good, so they've been indoors, but
Yeah.
they're still coming on 20 years old.
Two questions I had for you, Myron, was one is, do you have like a dirt auger? One of them portable ones, handheld ones?
Not a handheld one, we
Got one on?
modified the one that used to be on the sign truck so that it's skid steer or skid
Really?
loader attachment wise, I think.
Really? Okay, good.
Forget the size auger, but it probably could, well, assuming that there's different sizes we have or.
Okay.
But
All right.
Got a chain link fence to install.
I got posts from Sunday's ordeal and I salvaged them. And now I can use them here.
Sure.
The sign truck before the current sign truck, I think, had auger on it because we used to install 4x6.
Yeah, that's what I
4x4
thought.
wood posts, and I kept that truck, but that auger didn't work so great. But I was thinking Doug fabricated something and we have it so that it can be hooked up to the skid steer.
Okay. And you got the road south of Benton done?
The 61st Street
Yes.
Drive,
Right,
got all the rock put on it.
okay. And then they're gonna seal coat it?
Yes.
Okay, so I guess what I'm looking at, the skid loader is back then? It's not sitting out there?
I'm trying to remember what I seen yesterday morning when I drove out there, equipment wise, if it's still sitting out there or not. I mean, we have two skid loaders too.
Yeah, it probably goes on the Bobcat anyway, not the Cat. I bet.
I'm assuming it fits either. We've got the new Honda and the Cat. One of them would be in the shop, and obviously the other one's probably out there if it's not back in the shop.
Okay, all right. We'll see what the rest of this week brings.
Yeah.
I know it. Okay. Do we got time?
For item
Number
five.
5, yes.
I didn't know if you were ready to put that back on there or not.
I guess we can be.
I mean, obviously, we're not gonna have that meeting until November, December, so. But
Have you got somebody in mind?
I just responded that Bob Hanson did not wanna
Right.
do that, so.
Have you talked to anyone?
I haven't talked to anyone. I haven't talked to her anyone. I thought somebody from Belle Plaine would be a good one to represent us, so. I will talk to her actually Thursday this week,
Yeah.
for sure. So I guess we'll table it until I talk to her.
How about I will put it on until you let me know?
Okay, you know who I'm talking about, of course.
That's the one who said the other day.
Yep,
Yeah, I mean, that's you guys that
Okay.
asked them, so.
Okay.
Should represent them.
okay. All right. 3 minutes yet. You didn't have no reports. I had conservation last night.
Was Shelby there?
Yes, she was. They got a new naturalist hired. I met her for the first time. I didn't write her last name down. Her first name is Faith. Oh, about the bill that we seen last month or last week that we okayed, the expensive bills. One was chemicals and one was for the REC poles for replacement. That work was actually done in May. As for the chemicals they got was in May, and same way as the poles replaced was in May. Did not get the bills until July of this fiscal year started over. So
Okay.
that's the story on them 2 bills that I had the question on. And I guess that's about it.
Gonna fall asleep, Gary?
Okay, Katie, we're close enough.
So I just wanted to give you guys a quick COVID update. Over the last few weeks, we've seen like an uptick in cases in the county. We just had 3 more positives yesterday. The biggest thing right now is, of course, the Delta variant, which is a lot more aggressive and spreads a lot faster and causing more severe illness. So we continue to work on getting the vaccine out. We have open clinics throughout the week. And we're really working with the schools as we go into the next school year. Mask mandating will not be something that we're doing for the governor, so really working on those other measures, encouraging masking for folks, but really layering that and working with the school nurses. This week we did take back our contact tracing, so we'll do like school-age children, more focused, just so we can help work through things as we start. Of course, we'll have flu season amongst us, and, I think that will be pretty challenging, but otherwise, we're really working at trying to get the vaccine out to folks and making that available. They did approve for immunocompromised folks to get a booster shot, so we're waiting to hear more on everyone else that was vaccinated to get their boosters, and we'll work through with our partners and provide that. We have such a good structure in place with our pharmacies and getting vaccine throughout the county. So just continue to work through things and see what this next year will bring. I would anticipate a rise in our cases as we all come back together and start, summertime with the winter, gathering in places. But really, we're preparing, and, we always think that we've kind of been there already, you know, that if we have to put any of those mitigation things in place, we have a lot of those things done already, that we could do that. But I don't know if you guys had any questions or,
Why is the southern states more infected than the northern states?
you know, I don't know if it's, you know, I look at some of these places and where it's maybe extremely hot or, you know, that if they're gathering indoors, you know, that maybe that's a reason. You know, I know people aren't doing as well as we were with masking and the hand washing and the cleaning and those kind of things have kind of been lost in some areas, but, I'm not sure, you know, but it will be interesting to see how things trend and what data we'll collect from, you know, going forward and understanding this better.
Now, you had mentioned the third shot, and that's for those that have been compromised. Can you explain that,
Immunocompromised,
please?
so there are certain conditions that if your immune system is suppressed or taking medications or things like that, that qualify them to get a booster shot. They are looking at, you know, that time frame for everyone to see when we should get a booster shot, you know, like we do yearly flu vaccines or those types of things. So they're still looking at that, but I would anticipate that that would be coming up soon. And so our plan would be, you know, our vaccine supply is really stable, so we'd be able to get those out to our partners and get people in for their boosters, you know. So we're anticipating that or that news to be coming out shortly as far as when we can begin those.
What percentage of Benton County residents have been vaccinated?
We are right under the 50% mark, I believe. Right around, I think it was 46% or that people have been fully vaccinated in the county. So we're about halfway. So that's really good. You know, that will help us going into this following year as well. And, you know, with the variant news or it seems like over the last couple of weeks, and, you know, as people anticipate, get ready for school and immunizations, that people are really looking at that again, and we've kind of seen more people coming in to get vaccinated, so that's really good.
Are any of the schools going to require masks? I know the governor, you know, that statement where, you know, not thou shalt not, I get it.
Right.
But are any of the schools leaning that way?
I know they're really highly encouraging masking, you know. The CDC did change some guidance where it went from like that 6 foot to 3 feet.
Mhm.
And so I know the schools are really looking at that, you know, keeping the cleaning, encouraging students, you know, which is best practice for them to continue doing that. You know, we know that a lot of our schoolrooms, you can't always be distanced. And so getting into that or keeping that practice, that's what they're really encouraging, but you know, that is a choice. And so it's really important to layer those other efforts, you know, keep the cleaning, keep the hand sanitizing stations, you know, distance as you can. So we're working through those.
Now, and I'm not sure I heard this correctly, but Lynn County and possibly Blackhawk County are requiring masks in their facilities. Have you heard that, Sheriff?
Yeah,
Or
Lynn County,
Katie?
yeah.
I'm sorry?
Lynn County for certain.
I think
Okay.
they removed it, didn't
I don't think they have choice.
We just moved our regional governing board meeting from Lynn County to wherever Camp Courageous is, whichever county Camp Courageous is.
Doing that up there at Jones?
Yeah, we just moved it because of Lynn County's requirements for masks.
Okay. But I thought I had heard where Blackhawk was also requiring it, or moving that direction.
Talked
Yeah.
about it.
And the only concern I have is we're in the middle. That, you know, definitely want to keep a close eye on this. You know, and people can scoff at this as much as they wish. You know, I think the vaccination is extremely important. Yesterday, my wife's cousin passed away from COVID.
I'm so sorry.
You know, and it would be a miserable way to die, is basically suffocate to death. Lungs collapsed and intubation didn't do any good. All from COVID. So it's serious stuff, it really is.
Definitely.
So, yeah. And it's unfortunate, but I've even got grandchildren that, "Oh, I'm not gonna get that." You know, I talked to a fellow the other day, he thought that the government was implanting some sort of tracking device. What the hell? So, yeah, it's unfortunate, but, you know, we all went through the vaccination, at least my age group did, in school, you know, got the scar and the shoulder to prove it, you know, so it's,
And we're seeing, you know, with hospitalizations, because we keep watching that real close, you know, too, we don't wanna overwhelm healthcare. But out of the folks admitted or in the hospital with last week's data, about 80% of those folks that were in the hospital were unvaccinated. And the thing with the Delta, you know, it's much more aggressive, you know, and it progresses, you know, you just get sicker from it. And so just knowing that that vaccine helps provide protection for that, there has been people that have gotten COVID since they've been vaccinated, or and some had COVID along with it, that their symptoms are much more mild. You know,
exactly.
and so it just helps in that defense.
It's like the flu shot. It doesn't prevent it,
Yeah.
but it lessens it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
So,
yeah.
of course, we're always campaigning to get that out, and we've been at multiple community events, you know, just getting the word out to folks. And so having those walk-in clinics have been helpful too, because people can come and go as they.
Yeah, you know, take the heat, but, you know, we have to keep a close eye on this. That's my personal opinion. It's not only for the protection of our employees, it's protection of our citizens, you know. So, yeah, until it hits home, you
Right.
really don't realize the full extent of this, so.
How many people in Benton County have had COVID?
Oh, boy. I don't have that, but I will get that information, because that would be really interesting. We've had, oh geez, I don't even want to give it a good guess.
I think it's like 1,800,
But I would think-
600.
Yeah, quite a few. You know, we've done pretty well, you know, of course, going back into the fall or as school, you know, just as we grew back together this winter, I'm really concerned. But I am really grateful that so many folks have chosen. to
So that would be
vaccinated.
8 to 10% of the population. That's a significant number.
Yeah.
So, let's say they've had COVID and they haven't been vaccinated. Do they get any benefits from having COVID?
Yeah, they're saying that, that for about 3 months, you know, you have some coverage. And I think, you know, a lot of folks think, well, I've had COVID, so I don't need to get vaccinated. But when actually, you know, having the vaccine also gives you kind of that double protection or extra protection. You know, and we're still looking, you know, as far as how long that vaccine's good for. You know, now we're about 8 months out, you know, as far as when do we need to get that booster so that we, you know, can help fight that COVID, so. In our county altogether, I believe we've had 55 deaths that, you know, we just need to keep real diligent, I think, and keep practicing these things. And as we come together and we're not so spread out as we are during the summer, you know, we really need to make good choices. And, you know, I think everybody does a great job at thinking about others, and, you know, doing best practice or the right thing. You know, we just really need to continue to encourage that, because we're not quite there yet. You know, I think we'll keep learning more and just need to help protect ourselves and each other, so.
So you think the vaccine will last longer than the disease, getting the disease?
I think that's kind of what they're seeing, but they're still kind of studying that, so I don't have anything concrete.
Well, and even if you have to get a shot every year, a booster every year, you go get a flu shot every year. What's the big deal?
Right, and we've had a lot of people calling and asking, or, I'll come in and get my booster, whatever, just let us know, so.
Again, 2 weeks ago, I had what they call para-influenza, which attacked the respiratory system, like coughing and hard time breathing. It sucked. I couldn't imagine how my wife's cousin went through this for a month with intensive care, et cetera. Not being able to really catch his breath, not be able to breathe. What a horrible way to pass. So, yeah, I recommend everybody get their shot.
And we keep encouraging that and have that available. It's really nice that we have a stable supply now, and continuously ordering that or making sure that our partners all have vaccine. And, to help us keep a closer eye on things as well, our contact tracing, we were no longer doing that through the state. And so we've kind of volunteered to take that back on, because we really want to watch, and especially, our younger kids, that vaccine isn't an option. We really want to get back into schools and work with them.
I know I'm gonna put you on the spot here, but why isn't it that the younger kids can't, like school kids, why can't they get, you got mumps and measles years ago when I was growing up.
So why can't they get that?
Yes.
So they're doing their trials to make sure that, you look at growth and development and these types of things in kids, so you want to make sure that you're really testing that to make sure that there's no side effects, or, that there won't be complications. And so, I don't know where they're currently at. I know that they were working on that group, and that younger group, and so, within the next few months, we may be able to offer vaccines to them as well, but that's still under trial, so.
Going forth, and of course, as we get closer to fall and winter, where we're gonna be all pretty much shut-ins, hopefully you'll keep us in the loop. Sheriff's Office, maybe the Security Committee, obviously this board, and, pray to God we don't have to do anything, but if we do, we need to be on top of it.
Yeah.
I think, your office, the Sheriff's Office, the Security Committee, even this board, I think we did an excellent job last time to pat ourselves on the back. And we took heat from it, but I think it was in the best interest of the public. So.
Yeah, we've got a great community. I think everybody really did a great job, and we just pulled together, and, knowing that we kind of have those plans in place where we can, kind of pull and do what we did last year if we need to. But I think really watching this is going to be key, especially as we move into this next year.
Sure.
And so, yeah, we will definitely keep everybody informed, and I appreciate it. I meet with these guys all the time, and so, yeah, we're always kind of brainstorming through and looking, seeing if there's anything we need to change, so. But everybody's support has been great, and yeah, I really do think our community really pulled together, and
Yeah. I just have some, thoughts and concerns that if counties to our north and south are requiring it, yet we get people in from those counties to our courthouse, and so we just gotta be cautious.
And I think we, continue to encourage that. you know, and of course they are local businesses, kind of like our no shirt, no shoes, no service, you know, they all can require that or go into their stores or that type of thing, but keeping folks educated and informed so they can make those decisions, or you can watch those numbers and see if we do need to
Sure.
do that.
So-
further,
We've got this flu shot, and they pick 3, if I'm not mistaken, they pick 3, and they pick them early. They pick the 3 that they think
Trainings
are,
and tracking, yeah.
so how come isn't this in the flu shot?
You know, I know that they are talking about combining that, if that's something that can be combined, and I think it's just studying that. I don't think there's been enough time to have that happen yet.
And it's irrelevant whether it's combined or not. If you don't get the flu shot, what's the difference? Combined it, I don't think is gonna push people over the edge to get one or the other,
No.
so.
But
One-stop shop would be a whole lot easier, yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah. So,
Thanks for the update, Katie.
Yeah, any other questions or anything? First of all, if I hear anything or if you need anything, just call me and we can talk through things and see where we're at, so I appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having them in, Sheriff.
Thanks, Katie.
I still need to
Nothing
do
else?
5 out of there, Mike.
Oh, whenever you get to it, find a place. I've got more than just yours.
I don't know. Anytime they offer free stuff, though, I take it.
PPP warehouse instead of emergency management, but whatever.
We just need to rely on the governor's statement from the beginning. She's counting on, as Iowans, that we do the right thing.
Any old business, gentlemen?
You guys able to meet Thursday?
Yes.
You're-
Okay.
I know Scott is, but.
Well, then, sure, I'll make the
Motion
motion.
that we adjourn.
second.
All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye.
You get my email?
Working away.
Question?
You wanna meet?
Yes.
Okay, just make sure you get it.
Okay.
I've had email trouble off and on, so.
Not here.
Yes, I think my current answer might be different than my first thought.